Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that He loves the mutatahhirin, those people who are not only in a state of purity, but they make it a point of their lifestyle to be in a state of purity. Mutatahhir is a degree above tahir. Tahir means to be pure. Mutatahhir means somebody who is, to an extent, fascinated with purification. Their lifestyle is one of purification. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves such people. Now, when we talk about purification, there are different levels. One level of purification is what is recommended. That my clothes smell good, that I'm groomed properly, I'm presentable. That's one level that's recommended in the Sharia. However, there's a level in the Sharia of tahara and purification that is, if not equal, even more important than salah itself. We think about the importance of salah, but more important than salah itself is the purification I need for that salah. And last week we spoke about wudu and some of the shortcomings we often face when we're making wudu. That I don't realize I leave some portions dry. I don't realize that I skip some portions. That's one side of the extreme. The other side of the extreme is I overemphasize and I waste water. I'm there washing my hands a fourth, a fifth, a sixth time, not realizing that water is being wasted, and I think I'm doing something good, but I am not. The next conversation is the conversation of bathing, what we call ghusl. And again, as uncomfortable as this may seem to some of us, this is a conversation we need to have. Because if a person needs to bathe or shower or do ghusl, and they don't do it properly, in their minds they feel like they're praying salah, but it's no different than they're praying salah without wudu. And the example that I gave is, imagine you have a beautiful car. MashaAllah, very beautiful, top of the line, has all of the specs. You step inside of the car, you put your foot on the throttle, you're trying to move the steering wheel, and you're wondering why isn't it moving? Obviously because you don't have the key inside. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us tahara is the key to your prayer. Just like a key is important to open a door. So ghusl is important. Now for many of us, when we think about ghusl, we think it just means I need to take a shower. And this is something many of us may know, but we need to speak to our families about this, our children, especially our children who have reached the age of maturity, they're teenagers, they may not know this. Because in their minds, when they think about showering or bathing, they just think you jump into the bath, you turn on the shower head, you take a relaxing soak, and you come outside. That's not what ghusl means. Ghusl has three parts to it. There are three parts for ghusl to be valid. Number one, I have to ensure that every inch of my external body is washed. Sometimes we're in such a rush, sometimes we feel that it's cold, or sometimes we don't want to put the amount of effort, so we just go under the shower head and then we come out. No, I need to make sure that every inch of my body is touched with the water. That's my first responsibility, every inch. Even khilal, between my fingers, my ear. Just like when I'm doing ghusl, wudu, I have to make sure every part is washed. Even when I'm doing ghusl, I have to be mindful, number one. Number two, I have to make sure that I rinse my mouth. Some people don't realize that when you do ghusl, you also have to rinse your mouth. Take water and gargle. Just like you do in wudu, in ghusl, this is a fard, necessary component. I can't just go inside, have my entire body washed, jump out, my ghusl is incomplete. Number three, I need to rinse my nose. I need the water to pass through my nose. When I have done these three things, then my tahara is complete. And I want to remind everybody here that sometimes we feel everybody knows this, and maybe we do know this, but there are so many teenagers I speak to on a daily basis in this masjid, and I'll have a conversation with them and say, some of the basics of salah is this and that. and some of the basics of purification is this, and I'd ask them, do you know that bathing is necessary? And they would say, yes. Can you explain to me bathing? And they would say, you just go inside of the shower, you turn on the shower head, you soak your body and you leave. Not realizing that they have not done the basic requirements for tahara. So again, what are the 3 requirements? Number 1, I go under the shower or I bathe. I make sure every inch of my external body is touched with water. Sometimes places are left out because if I'm on top of a shower head, there are parts that are not exposed. I need to make sure I get the water there. Number 2, I have to rinse my mouth. I have to take water and rinse my mouth. And number 3, I have to rinse and clean my nose as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ. He loves the people who are always pure. And I want to remind myself, mutatahhir isn't the person who's only pure once in a while. To give you the example, if a person says, I have a very important wedding festival, I have a wedding event happening, a wedding feast, and I need to hire a chef. I want to hire a chef. So I pay $1,000 and a person comes and he's ready to cook, and I say, okay, tonight is the wedding, what are you going to cook? And he says, I'm going to cook noodles. And he says, you're cooking noodles? I thought I hired a chef. He's like, no, I know how to cook. I'll take some noodles and I'll cook it, boil it, and that is food. If I can make food, I'm a chef. Nobody in their wildest imagination will say somebody who knows how to make noodles is a chef. Does he know how to cook? Yes. So there's a difference between somebody who cooks once in a while and somebody who's a professional chef. When Allah says, يُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ, He's not saying the person who is pure once in a while. You know, in Jumu'ah, mashallah, I'm bathed, I'm clean. On Eid day, mashallah, on the 27th of Ramadan. No, mutatahhir means when they're doing wudu, they do it properly. When they do ghusl, they do it properly. Whenever it comes down to their ibadah, there's no uncertainty and doubt regarding the cleanliness of their body and their clothes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire us to be pure, to be clean. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clean us internally and externally. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leave no filth on our body or in our hearts. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.